Great morning, world! Welcome to the Rise Up with Dragon podcast with your host, Dragon!
Great morning, world. It is a great morning. Very excited about this Monday morning. Also very excited that Chicken has decided to, on a regular basis, sit next to me. And it's kind of like a little bit of a revival of the Rise Up with Chicken and Dragon show.
Yes, it is. Good morning.
And we've got her mic'd up. So the podcast is going to have that beautiful, you have a cat that's about to knock over an iced coffee. You might want to go take care of that. Yeah, why don't you unplug your stuff and go handle the cat. Real life. So one of the things that we take pride in on the Rise Up with Dragon podcast and show is just, it's real, it's live. And so what we've decided to do is we've decided to pump it through all of the live social media channels while recording the podcast and putting it into Clubhouse so we can have an after party chat. And I just think that is the way of the future. You know, Clubhouse is this awesome medium that, is probably in some ways might even be replacing or enhancing podcasting. So very, very interesting. Got a great rise up today. You know, I was, first of all, lots of exciting stuff coming up. As always, this show is sponsored by Karma Mind.
Thank you.
Yes. So Karma Mind is the premier meditation podcast. And I can tell you that Chicken and I...
it's getting there.
Well, we use it on a regular basis. I mean, the whole premise of the Rise Up with Dragon, show is based on this process that I call the Rise Up Great Day Morning. And that has so many different things that I speak about. But one of the things that we've always wanted to do is kind of like, somebody asked me the other day, Chicken, they asked me the other day, and the reason why Chicken's not on the video is because her hair is, she looks a little bit like a meth addict.
If you say meth addict one,
But somebody asked me the other day, and this is something that I want to offer everybody. Whatever it is that you do out there, if you want to really, really improve your success, make sure that you know and everybody else knows, and it's very, very clear what problem you solve. Right? We were talking about this. So I'm constantly looking at that. And somebody asked me, what is the problem that you solve for people, Dragon? And I just came up with this, and it might change by the end of the show or by tomorrow. So the Rise Up with Dragon podcast helps unlock people from their programmed mental prison, right? So it's not your fault, your programmed mental prison, and frees their minds to harmonize with their hearts for a win each day. So what's interesting about that and the relation to meditation and Karma Mind is meditation is something that helps you bypass your analytical mind. And it helps harmonize your heart and your mind. If you're just making decisions with your mind today, and we know that there's this programmed mental prison, meaning your mother, father, teacher, preacher has programmed you to believe what is and what isn't and what you can or can't do. And if the time is right or not, yet every single thing we ever learn about personal growth says otherwise. Right? You don't need to believe in yourself. You don't need to have the right timing. You don't need motivation. You don't even need courage. Those things all come in handy, but all you need is to know what it is that you want. And that's going to feed perfectly into this. So that's why I use Karma Mind. That's why I meditate. That's why I get up early and I do my journaling. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think it's great. Thank you for plugging me. Karma Mind is available on Apple and really all over the net, the interwebs. But I am now a teacher on Insight Timer as well.
Insight Timer, what is that?
Well, Insight Timer is a meditation app. And what's cool about Insight Timer is they have live sessions as well. So it's pretty awesome. You can actually sit in, you can do yoga classes on there. You can do like mindfulness workshops, things like that. And then you can also listen to recordings such as mine, like guided meditations. And if you open Insight Timer, the person on the front page is Russell Brand. I'm like a super big Russell Brand fan, and he actually does some stories on there. Him and Giselle Bündchen, Goldie Hawn, she's also one of the voices. So it's really, really cool. I'm very excited to be part of it.
And all their voices have zero credibility as soon as the chicken
Stop.
sits. Gather around, everybody. Chicken has just made a plug for Karma Mind. All right, so we're going to get started. But Chicken and I, part of our Rise Up is we also speak to each other, post meditation, and your meditations are about 6 minutes. So we just kind of clear our minds and we get that harmony going. But we were talking about some of the readings. So Chicken and I are very, very big on Buddhism. So we love Buddhism. And I was reading this morning, and we had this great discussion about the fact that nothing can survive without food. Right. It's very interesting because in the passage I was reading, it was, the story of Buddha is that he meditated for a very, very long time under the fig tree, and he achieved enlightenment, so he became friends and he learned how to create a relationship with suffering. I did a Rise Up called Suffer Less, if you want to go learn about that. And that's at the podcast is on iTunes, soon to be on all channels. That's the goal this week, is we're putting it on all the channels with some sort of RSS feed situation. But the question is if Buddha achieved enlightenment, why did he continue to meditate? So that leads us to this concept that nothing can survive without food. If you eat food today and you consume and you get satisfied from it and nourished, that's a temporary thing. So once you achieve your goal, so here we are, we're about to go into the jacuzzi experience with this Rise Up today and help unlock you from your mental prison and all of that. So you're going to achieve a win today. You're going to be in a better position for a win today. But at the same time, once you do achieve that goal of becoming free and potentially more productive, you must continue to nourish it. So the way that I do that for myself, and in turn, give that away to you, because if you want to keep something, you have to give it away. So that's the origin of how this Rise Up with Dragon show started. You the same can do that as well. But what I do is on Mondays and Fridays, I do this. As a matter of fact, this Friday, you do not want to miss this, because I have an amazing guest who wrote a book called Force of Habit, and her name is Tamsin Astor. Rock star, just amazing human being. She's got a great story. She's got a beautiful accent that rivals Chicken's a little bit.
A little bit, yeah. She's British, so I think she's got a slight.
You kind of sound like she's British. No, she's British. Yeah, it's awesome. But anyway, Tamsin is just going to rock your world. So keep an eye out for that. We've got a whole new brand, whole new look. Shout out to Claire for helping us with our social media. We got a lot of fun stuff happening. So welcome. And once again, to everybody on Clubhouse, once I'm done with this Rise Up, which will be shortly, we will, one more thing is that on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, I've made a commitment to go live, just a brief live, like a 5-6 minute live on my Instagram at Rise Up with Dragon, so that people can get their juju going on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. But then Saturdays and Sundays, we're out. And that's, on Thursdays at 1 p.m. Eastern, we're doing this amazing Clubhouse gathering every week with some of the most amazing rock stars who have got their physical, mental, and financial success in harmony. And we call that to live an integrated lifestyle, right? To not build your business or build your life around your business, build your business around your life, right? They have their priorities straight. So we're doing that every Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern. And I just want to say on that topic, I love Clubhouse. I'm totally loving Clubhouse. But Chicken and I recognized, just like we recognized with TV and news, that people are getting totally caught up and forgetting about the things that matter most. So one of the things that we always practice is we always want to practice putting the things that matter most first. So, and I'm not hating on anybody, but if you're going after your dreams, I understand that you have to go through a messy season and things like that. But it's very easy to get caught up In a non-integrated life, meaning you're all day Saturday and Sunday after your work day, the thought process in your mind is that I have to keep going, going, going. And there's FOMO going on because everybody's like blowing up and everything like that. Side note, it looks like Dragon is going to be hosting a show working with the amazing Steve Olsher, who is the club owner for Club Pod, which is the biggest, it's the standard in club rooms for and following for podcasting. So I'm going to have my own show, and that's going to be cool. I'm hoping that it'll be a morning show. But my point is, check yourself before you wreck yourself, because it's happening fast.
Yeah, I think that we're raised also to believe that in order to be successful, you sort of have to forego everything else in your life. We have this like mentality, and it's been amazing for me. I've been in America now for 10 years, and it's been super interesting to see how many people have that mentality where it's like, oh, I have to sort of put my family on the back burner if I want to be successful. And that's not necessarily the case. And I think that Tracy and I, Dragon, should I say, I'm so sorry. Dragon and I have decided that we want to live an integrated life where we can put our focus on many different things that are important to us. So, yeah.
It's kind of weird when you talk and you're staring at me. We'll have to get Chicken on here. But, when you do a morning show, it's challenging. You have to create your content. You got to come here and you got to have a clear mind. And I'm just so psyched that the love of my life and my dream soulmate and all that stuff sits next to me and just gives me that comfort. Because ironically, Dragon, who for a living is a personal growth speaker and does all of this live talking, that's my biggest fear is public speaking. Side note, be afraid, do it anyway. Okay, so let's jump into this. You're going to love this. So today's Rise Up is about the word persistence. Remember, I'm doing these through all social media channels, so they'll be saved there because they're live, but also please subscribe to my podcast at Rise Up with Dragon on iTunes. And got some really, really cool stuff coming up with my book where I'm going to be doing some giveaways for anybody that goes to my podcast, gives me a good rating and gives me, because I always get that notification, and gives me a review. That's how we get the Rise Up with Dragon podcast out there. And then that means better guests and everything like that. And also subscribe. Ironically, because my YouTube channel is new, you know how many subscribers I had at this morning? 666.
What?
Yeah. Sign of the devil. So somebody get in there and subscribe to my YouTube channel ASAP so that I can get away from that 666. Okay, so today is persistence. So I put this quote together. Just check it out. And if you have a pen and you're not driving, I think it's a good idea to write these things down and marinate on them a little bit. So knowing what you desire, its value, and taking action is the path to success. However, being persistent and relentless is the vehicle that you arrive in. So that's what we're going to talk about. Very often the difference between you getting what you want and you just wanting it and playing around with it and trying to get from point A to point B in a rocking chair is what we're going to talk about today. Now, Chicken and I watched the amazing story with Michael Keaton was the actor about the story of Ray Kroc. Unbelievable. And this is a actual quote by Ray Kroc, and I think it's really, really cool. Oh, we're getting comments now for what's up. Stacy, Howie, Katya, Rhoda. Katya's double fisting right now. She's on Clubhouse and on social media. So here's what Ray Kroc says. Luck is a dividend of sweat. I love that. The more you sweat, the luckier you get. So let's step into this place today where we talk about actually, moving from goal setting to goal getting. Like, let's go to this place where we actually, look at the idea of Buddha. He achieved enlightenment. How many times have you achieved a goal and then reverted back? Weight loss, all that stuff, such a common example, By the way, in Clubhouse, when you see, first of all, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to follow everybody that's in there in Clubhouse, because once you're followed, this little trick in Clubhouse, once the the moderator follows you, it moves you up in the queue. So I'm just going to hook everybody up in these early days of the Rise Up with Dragon show, just to show a little bit of gratitude. Once you're followed by one of the speakers on the panel, you'll move up in the queue, and you want to raise your hand. We're going to be doing a jam session in a second, in about 15 minutes. So I will always pull people up to the queue that raise their hands. And the more you interact, the more that the conversation is rich, but also that's how you'll meet everybody and create followers. I see my friend Ed Luft is here as well. Okay, so let's get in it. We're going to make sense of the meaning and value of persistence this morning. So like I said, we watched that amazing story of Ray Kroc the other day, the innovator of McDonald's, where you learn that, yes, he was a visionary. It's interesting to look at the word visionary. He was a visionary because he was the one that actually saw McDonald's as a worldwide franchise. But as he says it best, the two secrets of becoming successful, I'm reading my my writings from this morning, my journal entry. The two secrets to being successful are being in the right place at the right time, and second, doing something about it. Let's focus on that idea of doing something about it, right? Because that's the challenge. You all know that, but why do we not do that? Or why do we do it temporarily? So the main lesson that rang through with me when I hear things like this, it's yet another story of someone that started off, right? Started off with 1,000 failures and went on. I mean, if you look at the story of Ray Kroc, he was trying to sell like milkshake blenders, and just over and over and over, just fail, just like Steve Jobs, right? And then they go and change the world. Is that because the timing was right, or is that because they manipulated and hacked this whole kind of timing? I say it's persistence. So we're not only going to talk about the value of persistence, but we're also going to talk about what it is that creates it and how you can hack into it. Because once you start establishing some of these things I'm going to talk about, you're unstoppable, right? And also, excuse my French, unfuckwithable and undistractable and things like that. So these people had a vision for what they wanted. Do you have a vision for what you want? And then also why they wanted it, and obsessively looked at that vision and that value every single minute of the day, and then simply backed it up, to become act as if, right? They simply backed it up with action that most wouldn't do, because they most likely will lack what I call, this is new, we're going to drag an original here. They lack what I call vision value.
Ooh,
yeah,
like
the VV. Quick, run! Go see if visionvalue.com is available. Chicken and I own about 6,000 URLs. Like every morning we're like, and we never build the website.
Exactly.
But one day we will. So they lack what I call vision value of what they want. So here's a hint. Here's a hint for everybody. And also just want to say hi. What's up, Rhoda? See Rhoda, Karen Signs, Karen Lizery. No. Irizarry. I love that. Oh, she watched the movie last night. Wow. Synchronicity. Catherine watched this movie last night. How cool is that? Catherine, this one's for you. Today's Rise Up with Dragon is dedicated to Catherine Irizarry. So hint, if you find yourself today, day in and day out, trying to move forward, continuously getting off track or distracted, stop. I know that sounds crazy because you're supposed to keep working at it, but stop. Go back and reassess your vision value, what it is that you want and why it's important to you. Now, what is persistence? Let's think about that. Because once you have your vision value and you're saying, like, I always give the analogy, if I push your head underwater, what do you want? You want air. What's the value? It's pretty damn high, right? So that's an easy example of vision value. So once you know what your vision value is, what is persistence and what is its value? So simply put, persistence is when you go after something no matter what, right? With no quit in you, and you never stop, right? And that's what it means to have no quit in you. So think about it. You are the person all of your friends look at that is happy, healthy, and financially free, and they will all naturally ask, how did she do it? How did he do it? Or how did she do it? Think about that. What's interesting about that person that does practice, all of these things and gets everything that they want, all of a sudden everybody thinks that they got lucky. And that's why I opened up with that. So they'll all say, how did they do it? So then those that truly know you and your story will mention, well, you know what? They found their thing, and they likely explain that you were persistent, right? I love when somebody all of a sudden draws a line in the sand and goes out there, especially living out loud on social media. And then they go out on social media and they start to do this crazy shit, right? Like we did when we started our businesses, like you're doing with Karma Mind, like I'm doing right now, right? I don't know how many people are watching this. Right now we have like, I don't know, 50 12, 15 people in Clubhouse, and we're in this beginning phase, and everybody's like, oh, I like this, or what's he doing? A lot of people will stop by and say, what the hell is he doing? But then they'll come back a month later and they'll go, is he still doing that?
Yeah.
Right? And then when you start to notice that second phase of, is he still doing that? And also, are you persistently following something and the message, or are you just grabbing something and then you're going to go out and do it on your own? You got to nourish it. That's why I do this every day. So 3 months from now, when I'm still doing it, you go, holy shit, he's still doing it. And then 6 months from now, when I have this massive empire that I can see in my value vision, that's changing the world and unlocking people and making me go to bed at night and saying, I'm good enough. That's what it'll do for me. People will say, of course he succeeded. But the ones that see me in that polished state of success will think that I'm lucky, right? So that is big. In fact, think of the person in your life that is the biggest pain in your ass. Think about this. Everybody think about the person. Don't say it out loud, but think about and especially if it's me, think about the person that's biggest pain in your tushy. Want to know why they're so good at being a pain in your ass? Because they're persistent. Yeah, they're persistent. I would give a shout out to a couple people right now, but then that'll probably just give them something to do all day. Hey, Rebecca, Dr. Rebecca Lidstrom's here. Freddie Woods, what's up, brother? I love it. Love all these people coming in. Welcome to the movement of Rise Up with Dragon /Chicken.
I love it. I love it. I'm happy to be here.
So now what's the value of persistence? Let's look at the value. So look at this quote that I put together. I shared in the beginning. Knowing what you desire, knowing what you desire, its value, and taking action, got to have all those, is the path to success. But being persistent and relentless is the vehicle that you arrive in. So think for a second. What is it that you desire when it comes to physical, mental, and financial goals? Those are the goals that you want and you desire. Now, take a look at the action steps that you inherently need to take to reach those things. How often and at what intensity do you need to take those actions in order to have what it is that you want, to have the have? So look at the things that you want to have, right? Are you doing things that support them, or are you allowing things to creep in that are not in support? I always like to give the analogy of the bouncer, right? If you want to have a club that's kicking, right, and you got your EDM music in there, and you only want a crowd that's going to create an atmosphere like Studio 54 was really good at this. They made sure that they only let people in there that were going to enhance the experience. No riffraff, right? So just like a bouncer, you get to decide what you let in and out. Are you letting things in supportive of your dreams and your goals, or are you letting anybody in, right? So that's something that you can do. So that all falls under these words. And I would write these words down and assess them in your lives. Intensity, frequency, and duration, right? So simple. Go back and look at the value of what it is that you say that you want, and see that the value you place on your desired goals create urgency. Do you sense urgency when you look at what it is that you want and that value? Does it create urgency? Like, I need this, right? It's interesting when you say you want something. When that want changes into a need, that happens from urgency. And when that need changes into a must-have, that's because urgency is a rise, or rising up. So, urgency, which in turn impacts your intensity, frequency, and duration. And that's what accelerates you to your goal, right? And you have to practice patience. You have to understand that Ray Kroc and Steve Jobs didn't know when it was going to happen. They just decided it was going to happen, just like Elon Musk. We're constantly talking about people in the early phases of going after their dreams. And It's just so plain to see. Any of these people, I'm seeing it happen on Clubhouse. I'm seeing innovators and pioneers that don't yet know that they're innovators and pioneers, but they've made a decision to go after it. What's up, Michael?
Do you know where Elon Musk is from?
Wait a second. Elon Musk, where is he from?
South Africa, same town as me.
By the way, here's a little factoid, and we call it a chicken fact. Anybody that's ever done anything important in the world, including Charlize Theron, it's from South Africa.
Why don't you tweet Elon Musk right now and ask him where he's from? He's from Pretoria.
Of course. Where else would he be from?
My
Where
mom
else?
actually knows his one.
Yeah, everybody, and I would assume Steve Jobs at least spent time there, or maybe has a cousin in South Africa. Anyway, very excited, by the way, moving in a positive direction towards getting our daughter here. And, God, chicken and dragon are cool, but when there's a little ducky in between us, we're complete. And that's going to happen soon. So all of you folks that call yourself prayer warriors, throw some prayers at our little ducky getting here, because it's just technical stuff and coronavirus. So in any case, go back and look at the value of what you want and see if it's creating urgency. So here's a formula that I want to share with you. Once you have that urgency, here's the formula for success. Intensity plus frequency plus persistency, those three things, intensity, frequency, and persistency equals acceleration to your desired state. Thus, decreasing duration, that's what acceleration means. Decreasing duration and increasing resolution. Now, we all know about resolution because we know about structural tension, and I think I'm going to hit on that. So another simpler way to look at this is that the intensity and frequency and persistence, here it is, together, those three things, intensity, frequency, and persistence together equate and create what's called tension, like we learned from Robert Fritz. And he calls that structural tension, structural dynamics, in his book, The Path of Least Resistance. Changed my life, that book. Probably one of the top 10 books that I've ever read. So he explains the simple, fact that by increasing tension between point A and point B, you're going to increase the acceleration and resolution to your desired state. So he would use a rubber band and pull the rubber band back, or like a bow, and that's increasing tension the harder you pull it back. So what I'm saying is this stuff, about if you want to increase tension and you have urgency to get your goal, well, throw some intensity, frequency, and persistence into that. And that's like pulling that rubber band back, and you better get out of the way, because that sucker's going to achieve resolution. Why would you stop pulling the rubber band back? And that's because of your program. That's because of that mental prison, right? So what does this all have to do? We're wrapping up now. What does this all have to do with the value of being persistent? And why am I so into this today and most days? I'd say about every day. I'm always assessing my persistence, That's how I can leverage and identify, am I moving forward? It doesn't always show up on the scale or in the bank account. Sometimes it just shows up in just me saying, of course I'm going to succeed. I'm not stopping. I'm not stopping. And if you really want to look at the main ingredient in baking a success pie, it's persistency, right? Now, it's in your control as well, what I love. I like to control the controllables. I like to get comfortable with the uncontrollables, but I like to make sure that I'm spending my time on the controllables. One of the things Chicken and I do to make sure that we remain in control of nourishing our relationship is we try to not get caught up in shit that doesn't matter. You know what I mean? So learn how to control the controllables. And this is in your control. And that means that you can change the odds in your favor and your future right now. So when somebody approaches me that knows what they want and why, and has urgency and readiness to go after it, I'll give you an example. Our program that we use to help people, our program has 100% predictable transformation. 100% predicted win for that person. So is it our program that services this win, or is it more? Now, you got to have a structure. You got to have something that takes somebody from point A to point B, right? You could have the highest urgency, intensity, consistency, persistence, and all of that stuff. But if you're trying to get into town in a rocking chair, you're just going to rock forward and back faster. You're never going to get anywhere. So, side note, you got to have the right guidance, mentorship, support, and structure. But the ingredients for that when you have that right structure, and there's chances are somebody's offering you that structure. Chances are, if you're smart, you want to learn from somebody not that knows how to get what you want, but that has it. And all you got to do is say, how did you get it, right? It's very hard to get anywhere in life when you don't have the right structure. There is something about grit and hard work. I do know some people that just work so hard, but that's not what you want. That's not an integrated life, right? You don't want to succeed at the risk of killing yourself, right? And sacrificing the things that matter most. So look at somebody that not only has what you want right now, physical, mental, financial, but also has harmony in their life, has an integrated life, and just say, how did you get it? I want that. And then just put that into practice with your own flair. So a car will do much better job at taking you into town than a rocking chair. So here's the final version of the formula. There's one more ingredient, and then we'll close out. Intensity plus frequency plus persistency plus structure, there's the vehicle, equals acceleration to a desired state, and thus decreasing duration and increasing resolution. So that is my Rise Up today. Don't forget, Wednesdays at 5 p.m. I see my brother here, Howie Craw. We do the Bright Side at 5 p.m. I do these Mondays and Friday mornings at 8 a.m. I will always be here, even if I'm limping on one leg like the Black Knight in Excalibur. And then Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, I'm going to be doing a live, just a little wake up live on Rise Up with Dragon at in Instagram at
Nice.
Rise Up with Dragon. And then Clubhouse, if you want to find me on Clubhouse, make sure you find me on Clubhouse and follow me and ring the bell, because I've got amazing stuff, including that integrated life one, which is probably going to have like 500 to 1,000 people in it this week, because we've got rock stars there. So remember, if you learned something today, give it away. That's how it's going to stay. Love and appreciate you all. And we're going to say, Chicken, one last word.
Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you for having me on your show.
It's not my show, it's our show, because
Oh.
everything I do for you, my darling.
Thank you, my darling. Well, thank you for having me on our show.
Awesome. All right, let's close it out.